I watch Maa Behen on Netflix, and today let's talk about the storytelling aspect of it. Not the mystery, not the comedy, whether it's perfect film or not, but what this story is actually trying to say. At the center of Maa Behen are three main characters, three women and three from different generations. Rekha, played by Madhuri Dixit, a mother who has spent years holding her family together while carrying her own scars. Jaya, played by Triptii Dimri, a woman who is stuck between her societal expectations of and her own identity, and Shushma, played by influencer Dharna Durga, the youngest of the three, representing a generation who wants life to live its life on its own terms but still carrying the baggage of family expectations. So what's interesting is all three women are at different stages in their lives, yet all three are dealing with the same thing, judgment. And that's where this film Maa Behen becomes fascinating, because if you remove the crime comedy aspect of it, Maa Behen is essentially a story about three women trying to survive in a society that constantly wants to define them. A widow, a separated woman, a woman having problem with her husband, a young unmarried woman. Many Indian stories, these labels become their entire identity, but Ma Behen pushes back against that. The film asks a very simple question: what happens when women stop existing as supporting characters in somebody else's story and become the main character of their own story? And honestly, that's where I think many people, many viewers might struggle with this film, because Ma Ben breaks that stereotype completely. Bollywood has been using this for decades. Usually, when women lead a story, they are either portrayed as victims or the superheroes. Therefore, there is very little middle ground. But the women in Ma Behen are neither. They are flawed, they are emotional, they are making mistakes sometimes, and they are overacting as well sometimes. They make terrible decisions, and that's exactly what makes them feel real. One of the smartest things about the screenplay of this movie is that it understands a very simple truth: human beings are emotional before they are logical, especially families. Think about it, most family conflicts don't happen because somebody is objectively right or somebody is wrong. They happen because people feel unheard, right? People feel judged, people feel abandoned, they feel misunderstood, and Ma Behen is built entirely around those emotions. So every major conflict in the story comes from emotions, not logic. Years of assumptions, of expectations, and years of things that are not spoken and never discussed, and that's what drives this story forward. The external events are simply creating the pressure. The real drama is happening underneath. And that's actually a sign of good writing, because great storytelling is never about what is happening, it's about what the characters are feeling while it's happening. So take any scene in this film and you'll notice something very interesting. Most conversations are not about the topic that is being discussed. To go and watch the movie, they are about something deeper. A fight is not a fight, it's years of frustrations coming out. Disagreement is not just a disagreement, it is something that has been brewing under the carpet that needs validation. A joke is just not a joke, it's often a self-defense mechanism. The screenplay constantly uses emotions as the engine of the story, and that's why even when the plot becomes chaotic, the characters continue to feel believable. Another thing I would like to share I found interesting is how the movie portrays the absence of men. That's in most mainstream Indian movies. If there's a family story, there's usually a dominant male figure driving the entire narrative forward. But in this, the father, the husband, the brother, somebody making decisions for them, somebody solving the problems for the woman, somebody leading the story ahead. Ma Behen removes all of that completely. The story belongs entirely to the woman, to these three. They create the problem, they solve the problems, they make mistakes, they deal with the consequences of the mistakes they make, and that changes the entire dynamic of the movie. For once, the women aren't reacting to a man's story, and that was so refreshing. They are creating their own, and that may sound simple, but it's surprisingly very rare in mainstream cinema. The film also has something very important to say about society, especially our Indian society, because one of the recurring themes and ideas throughout the movie is observation. People watching, people judging, they are gossiping, they are forming opinions about women. And if you are a woman, that scrutiny often becomes even stronger. A widow is judged, a divorcee is judged, a separated woman is judged, a woman who is unmarried for a long time is judged. If she is too quiet, she is a problem. If she is too outspoken, she's a problem. And if she's independent, then she's a problem. If she's dependent, then that also is a problem. And Ma Behen captures that reality very, very, very well. The neighborhood itself is almost feels like another character in the movie, and a constant reminder that society is always watching, especially if you're a woman. And that's why I think the movie's biggest theme isn't the family, it's the freedom to make mistakes, the freedom to be imperfect, freedom to exist, just exist without constantly performing for others and for the society. And that's where the title suddenly starts making sense, because the words Ma Behen are often used to define women through their relationships with others. Like Ma is as in the mother, and Behen, someone's sister, or someone's wife, or someone, those are the labels that are related to other people. But the movie tries to go beyond those labels. And if you are interested in stories about women that don't try to make them, perfect, then this is actually the movie that you should be watching. Because beneath all those comedy and chaos, Ma Behen is really telling a story about three women trying to find space for themselves in a world that has spent years telling them who they should be. Even the ending is crafted less as a mystery and more as an emotional resolution, where the characters finally begin to understand each other as individuals rather than as mother or daughter. And if you enjoy this kind of storytelling analysis, where we go beyond reviews and break down writing, characters, and themes and emotions and what a movie really is trying to say, then please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And it really helps the channel to grow, guys, and allows me to make more videos like this. And most importantly, tell me in comments which movie or web series story should I break down next. I'll read all the comments and suggestions, and your recommendations might be the next video on this channel. Until then, thank you for watching, and keep watching great stories and keep questioning them. And I'll see you in the next analysis. Bye.